Hello, this is Category 5 Community Coffee Break. I'm BP9. Hello. Above me is Doug. Give us a wave, Doug. Thank you, sir. And then to his left on my screen, well, his left on my screen over there. Oh, I can't get it right. That's Peter. Give us a wave, Peter. Thank you, sir. And then Solbu to my... Oh, I did it right this time. Look at that. Thank you, Solbu. Good to see you. Welcome to Community Coffee Break. We were having an interesting pre-discussion, and I have some questions for you, Solbu. We talked about mail server way back when, about running your own mail server, and I never did pick up with you about that. So I wanted to talk to you about that a little bit. I don't have a lot going on here. I've got some stuff going on at work, but that's nothing to do with this. It's consuming some of my time, so not much going on this past week. Otherwise, I wanted to talk to you, and if anyone else wants to jump in, please do, but I wanted to talk to you, Solbu, about running your own mail server. What are the pros and cons? What did you have to do to get that working? I did it once for a company that I worked for 2 or 3 jobs ago, 4 or 5 jobs ago. It doesn't know, a long time ago anyway. One of the things that surprised me was how verbose the logging is, how much is exposed in the logging. That was very disconcerting for me. So it shows this. I'm sure that my internet provider can see all kinds of stuff about my emails. So anyway,
For me, it started 20 years ago this year when I registered my domain name, solbu.net. And I used name 0 that they were called back then for as the selling register, and they had email service as part of the package. But after about a year, I was fed up by the amount of spam. Remember, this was already 20 years ago, and the spam amount was nowhere near. But already back then, I had 100 spam emails a day. I decided that I was going to move to self-hosting. So I configured postfix that I still use. It's easy to set up. You have to, in order to keep the spam amount down, you need to configure a few real-time blacklist. It's the term.
Like spam assassin or something, or
spam. That's a local spam fighting, but you are checking spam house and spam cop and a few others on. And that was basically it. You need to have an account on the system running the mail server, which I have, and that's all there is to it.
So the server must be contactable from outside your network, right? So presumably...
So the incoming port 25 need to be open, and these days also 2 other ports. Let me check that. I don't remember it in my head. So I'm port scanning my gateway to find the...
Oh, okay. So presumably you set your internet modem to bridging mode to allow you to do the NAT, the network address translation, or to port forward that port in from outside. Is that true?
Yeah, there's 2 ways to do that. One is to have the modem in a bridge, which I do because I need the actual local system to have the public IP. And that system is doing all the routing and NAT translation and so on.
Okay.
Port 995.
Oh, is that the SSL port for mail?
I'm not sure I have that open. Yeah, but there are 3 ports. Port 25, and there's 2 other ports. That is, one is the SMTP port, and one is the authentication port, which is those two ports are SSL encrypted. So and the auth port is used if you have an outside clients, like if you have a mobile phone or a laptop, a portable laptop, and you're at a friend's house and you need to check your email, then you can use your laptop or your mobile phone to send email via your router, which is at home when you're not.
You would use an IMAP connection, right? You wouldn't.
No, you can use a POP. You can use the same type of authentication as if you are using Gmail or Outlook, but you are not using IMAP.
Oh, okay.
So.
Okay. So,
but the only thing
in that case, you'd want to leave the mail on the server so that your main machine can retrieve that email for your.
That is a setting on the client.
On the client. Yeah. Okay.
And if you're using a POP3 to check your email, then you need to actively enable leaving the mail on the server, because the default is to fetch the mail and delete it.
Yes.
So, but you need, there is one or two other steps that one need to take in order to getting the mail into the server. Your MX records, mail exchange records, DNS records, need to be pointed to your local to a host name associated.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
And if you have, most people most people have a dynamic IP, meaning if you restart the modem or the power is out for a few minutes, and then you have a new IP. And then you need to have a dynamic DNS record. There is a various way to do that.
Most of those pieces are in place for me. I own 2 or 3 domains, but I'm using the internet provider's mail server for that. So any mail that comes in, any email that comes into those domains will be handled there for me to retrieve. I understand about the MX changing the actual mail server addresses. I have static IP address here, a static IP address block here. So, and my internet is so much more reliable now. I don't know if I ever mentioned that, but finally the telecom tech came in after I complained about the internet dropping all the time, especially on an incoming phone call. The problem was that my DSL is coming in on the same line as the POTS, the plain old telephone connection. And so every time an incoming phone call, my internet would drop.
They didn't give you a filter. They didn't give you a filter because we
no. This is a newer DSL that does not require the filters, Peter. I had the old DSL. Which is much slower, and the local telecom here basically forced the issue and said, it's time to upgrade. You don't have any choice anymore, because the old DSL was working fine with all the filters in place. This new DSL, it's AT&T Uverse. This new DSL has a big old router, which they'd love it if you use their Wi-Fi and all that, but I don't do any of that because I don't want to expose all of my internal network machines to AT&T's network, because that's what happens. So what I've done is I've put a Wi-Fi router in front, in between the telecom router and my network, and all they see is just the router. That's it. Yeah. So I have not yet bridged the modem. That's going to be my next step. I'm too scared to do that. I'm afraid if I do that, everything just goes, will just go belly up, and I don't want to risk that. But I guess I'll have to try it sometime just to see if I want to do that.
Yeah, there's one thing to consider. There's one thing that you need to consider when you're breaching the router. As you are using a DSL connection, you might have to configure your router that is going to be the public facing system, it might have to have some sort of authentication mechanism towards the server. That is most DSL connections have some sort of username and password in order to get up the line.
So the way you go ahead, Peter.
I don't understand why don't you have a filter, because basically audio between 0 and 3K and the internet is up about 1 meg, and the filter just basically removes one from the other basically. And
the reason why, Peter, is because what the telecom tech did is actually installed a splitter at the very head of the line, at the very top of the line, that separates out the POTS line and the DSL line.
Okay,
but,
I'm done now. Yes, okay.
But even so, even with that hardware in place, as long as my DSL was on the same line as my plain old telephone line, it would keep dropping the connection. So what the telecom tech did is separated them out, because I have 4 pair of lines running to my house, and only one was in use that had the DSL and the POTS on it, right? So what he did is he separated out the DSL into a separate pair, left the POTS on one line. I got my DSL on a different pair, and now it's been solid as a rock. Touch wood, you watch, it'll come apart now, you watch.
Yeah, I can understand that. I understand that now, yeah.
So, Solbu, as far as bridging the modem's concerned, I don't know how it is with your internet modem, but with mine, it doesn't look like bridging is completely 100%. It doesn't look like it does it. How do I want to put this? There's still some pieces active in the modem even after I bridge it. And I think those pieces provide the authentication mechanism that you're talking about. I think they have to be there, or otherwise the whole thing just comes apart. So, bridging the modem is not complete. Like I've seen, Robbie talks about bridging the modem at the studio, and it sounds like it's a complete bridge. Everything, it's a fire hose. Everything that comes in hits your router, right? Now, whether he had to set up any kind of authentication, I don't know, but that is not true of this modem. This modem is not a complete bridge. Some of the traffic, like as you said, the authentication, some of that, I think, is retained by the modem and keeps going like that. That's one of the things I've got to try. I want to do that sometime when I can tolerate. I don't want to do it just before starting coffee break because I want the thing to work. So
the way that
the IP address.
In my case, I had the fiber company to bridge modem before I moved in.
Okay.
And in other cases, there is I think I could have done that after I moved in, but in most modems, you also can log into the configuration interface, and there is a checkbox. Yep. But if the checkbox is not there, that only means that the user account level that you have on your modem does not authorize you to make certain changes, and bridging might be one of those.
I have logged into the modem, and that checkbox is there. So it is possible for me to bridge it. So I have no problem with that. So, Doug, what sort of trouble have you been up to? You've been awfully quiet up there.
Well, I replaced that fan in my laptop, and that laptop is what I'm on Zoom with right now.
Did you have any problem with the operation?
Not really. I wound up having to tear the laptop apart almost entirely. I think the only component I didn't remove was the RAM sticks.
Wow.
Yeah, it was quite a job. Took about an hour.
Was it like that?
Tear it apart and reassemble.
Yeah. But how similar was it to Robbie's experience on his show?
I think his whole process took about half as long as mine did.
Well, yeah, he's probably done it a few times too. So
Yeah. Yeah, and it was obvious that I did a YouTube video to know how to do this because I could find one that was specific to my laptop.
Nice.
And if I tried using Robbie's video, it's not specific to my laptop.
Right.
There may be things I wouldn't know about.
Yes. Now, were you able to just replace the fan, or did you have to replace the entire cooling mechanism that leads up to the CPU?
Just the fan. The cooling mechanism and the heatsink on the bridge were separate from the fan.
Oh, nice. That should have made it easier for you, I would think.
Yeah, it was a whole lot easier. Yeah, the heatsink on the CPU was actually a little piece of copper that wound around back to the fan.
Okay.
I remember 20 years ago, I was visiting some friends in my home city, which is next to here. They had an old radio that didn't work. And I asked if I could open it and check it to see if I could fix it. Yeah, sure. So they gave me some screwdrivers, and I opened it, and opened the back, and then there was the circuit board, and I screwed off all the screws I found that I could see. But there's one screw that I didn't find apparently because it still was attached to something. And as I couldn't find it, then I gave up and I screwed everything back, and the radio worked.
I'm not surprised. I've done that before. I have done that with electronic components or with parts before, where I've literally just taken it apart, put it all back together, and the thing just starts working.
Yeah, and I didn't disconnect a single plug. All I did was unscrew the back and 4 screws, and there was a 5th screw inside that I didn't see. But you unscrewed also the screws around the main board, right? Around the PCB, right? Or no? Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's probably what fixed it, because there would have been tarnish or something on the grounding posts. By unscrewing them, screwing them back on again, you cleaned off that tarnish, made a good grounding connection, and probably started working at that. Now, it'll probably crap out again at some point, because it will start tarnishing up again.
The radio is still working. So.
Oh, good job, well done.
So for doing nothing, that was an excellent job.
This is the famous Pine phone. It's running now the same distro Arch Linux that I've had before. Seems to be working great. Would I use it as a daily driver? I'm not sure yet, because I've been doing some research on this, and the USB-C connector, I don't know if that's going to come up at all on the. I'm not going to. Yeah, there it is. You could just see the edge of it. Yeah, you could just see the edge of it. The USB-C connector. When I tried to connect a USB-C to Ethernet dongle to it, it would not start. It would not open up. So I'm not sure if I'm going to have any good success with this and the dongle that I've still got coming. It's still on its way. So I started researching on Pine 64, and it turns out that this unit has a main board on it that has components that do not exactly implement the USB-C protocol, even at the hardware level. There are some sync transistors on there or something that are causing some pins to not have the correct status. So I may be replacing the main board on this. If I can find one at Pine 64, they're all out of stock. One of the guys there, the person who introduced us to the Pine book, and the Pine Time and all that, and the Pine phone, Ursaz or something is his name, or Eric or something like that. He put up a video showing you how to remove those 2 capacitors without soldering or anything, or those 2 transistors without soldering, and it got his USB dongle working. So I may try that. I'm a little nervous about doing that, but I may try that. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to try the USB dongle first and see what happens. Peter, what have you been up to, sir?
Not much. I'm still waiting stuff from eBay and Amazon. Well, particularly I've had a great problem with eBay. Particularly,
Yeah.
I keep ordering stuff because of the problem over here, because of the border problem.
Yeah.
You can't get stuff into this country. So I've discovered a way of doing it by my younger brother who
Oh,
lives in
good.
Spain, via Spain. So I can
You
go
best
buy
not
it.
say too much now, because you know there might be some three-letter agencies who are listening in. So
Well, anyway, so when we do that, we can get things sorted out, get the boxes sorted out. The other one I built.
nice.
So we're waiting for PCB and all sorts of other stuff. I did
Oh, good.
buy a GPS messenger. I was trying to tell Solbu the other day. Basically, it is a free running oscillator that runs at 10 megs, and if they got looped onto use GPS, use the atomic clock in GPS thing to lock on the frequency.
And what does that do for you, Peter?
It gives me a frequency standard with 1 bar in 10 to the 7. 10 bar, no, 10
Right,
bar.
but are you using that as a time base for your for the other
Yeah,
machines in your network, or what?
Yeah, you're using it as a piece of test equipment basically as well. But
So you're picking up the time, the actual time of day from the GPS satellites, then, right?
yeah, and you use it on the clock. So there's a free running oscillator inside the box,
Okay.
and that runs at roughly 10 megs, and then the GPS in the satellite. There's a atomic clock in there, a little rubidium probably, and then that locks onto the face lock, loops the oscillator back onto 10 megs all the time.
Well, I get how you're looking for a stable 10 megahertz signal, but I'm still not sure about the time, the time from the GPS. How you're picking that up?
Through an aerial like that. That's the aerial.
Oh, I get that, but what are you reading off the GPS? Once you're hearing a GPS signal, what are you doing on that with that signal?
Well, when they send GPS signal, they send a set of locations and a set of coordinates, and they also send a clock frequency which is built inside the satellite, which
Okay.
is very accurate, and using that to lock onto the oscillator. Use a rubidium clock.
For what purpose, though? For what purpose, though? What are you using that time signal for?
As a frequency standard for measuring frequency and all sorts of other things.
Okay.
Yeah, because better than the crystal will be a lot better. On my computer, rubidium is a element where if you give it a wallop with 2 gigahertz, the electrons come off, or,
Yeah.
or the other way around. If you put it in a tube and you eat it, electrons come off, and every time the electron comes off, you create a 2 gigahertz signal from it because of energy is reserved all the time. You know, you can't make or break. The energy's got to go somewhere, and it goes up as RF, and then they use that frequency to divide down to lock on to 10 megs.
Okay. So it sounds like you're more interested in a stable 10 megahertz frequency than you are any data that you might be able to pull off the satellites, right?
I get a very poor signal here. That's why I was asking Solbu the other day. Sometimes it works all right. Then if I pull the power off, I lose the signal, and I have to wait a long time until it comes back again.
Interesting. Okay. This thing is supposed to have a GPS chip inside it, but it doesn't seem to. At least the software doesn't seem to be picking it up. When you dig down into the command line, what will happen is, show us what's on the display. What does the display show? It's very yellow to me right now. Can you put it a bit closer to your screen or to your camera? Let's see here.
Yeah, there's no definition there.
GPS no fix, it says.
That's
okay.
Right.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
I couldn't read that.
Yeah, so it says GPS no fix, but if you get a fix on the GPS, you will be able to at least get UTC, right? You'll be able to get the time.
Yeah, but sometimes it is there for a while and suddenly decides to get a fix. But
That's
I'm into
funny.
it.
Because once, I've got several GPS receivers, and once they get a lock, they tend to stay on as long as the radio's running. Is that a kit that you put together, or did you?
That's the sort of I bought, yeah. As I bought, I also got the Rubidian atomic clock upstairs as well, which I've just fixed.
Okay.
Which is quite tricky to fix thing. There's a bit of physics there, but
Yeah.
quite interesting. Like how it works.
Nice. So, does that thing that you showed us, does that also act as a time source as well?
Yeah.
So you put it on the network then, or no? You put it on your network?
It's got an OS232, but there's a little problem. It's written in China. It's written in bloody Chinese.
Oh.
I got another thing that I went to school with. I went to school with, and we were trying to use Google Translate to translate some of the.
I bet that was fun. I was going to suggest that, but I thought, oh boy, you never know what might come out of that.
I remember that. Yeah.
So I managed to do that for me. They did do that. I said, man, and I ain't going to do. But I worked out the baud rate and I worked out the number of bits, and I couldn't work out actually. Sorry.
Well, let's we've got to get ready to close it down. So I want to give the other folks a chance to make closing comments if they want. So Solbu, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I remember speaking of Chinese equipment, Leo Laporte on the Tweet network 5 or 6 years ago commented that he had a phone and John C. Dvorak was on the show that Sunday, and he played with the phone, and when Leo got the phone back, the language was Chinese, and
no.
John C. Dvorak always does this on friends, and
he's lucky that he didn't reconfigure the keyboard to the Dvorak layout.
Yeah.
How about you, Doug? Let's have some closing comments before I close the meeting down.
Well, I'm going to go see my son and daughter-in-law and my granddaughters. My youngest granddaughter is just starting to crawl, so that should be fun.
Nice. That's excellent. I'm so happy to hear that. I've been keeping up with my sister in Australia too. They've been having some fun and games over there as well. So,
and soon the child will learn its first word. Mine.
Yes. Not long.
All right, boys and girls, I think it's time to finish up. Thank you again for a great coffee break. Thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'll see you later. Have a good week, and we'll see you next week.
Goodbye, everybody. See you next week.